Welcome to the MacDuffie School's annual debate by our senior advanced placement literature and composition students. They've been studying Greek drama. My name is Carol Tomkiel. I'm a member of the English department at MacDuffie. And the students assembled here today represent one of my two advanced placement sections. The first section that you see with me here today will be debating Euripides Medea. Euripides Medea, that's sort of hard to say. And they're going to be doing it in abbreviated format. The debate they actually did was much longer in the classroom. If you don't know the play Medea, it revolves around the title character, Medea, who is a princess of Colchis and the wife of the famous Greek hero, Jason. The students will be either defending or opposing Medea's actions and character after she is left by her husband and endeavors to deal with the grief of this betrayal. But before we get started with the debate, I would like each of the students to stand up, introduce themselves, tell us where they're from and some of their activities at our school. And I'm going to start over here to my right. If we could start with Andrew, please. Thanks.
I'm Andrew Gogini. I'm from Belchertown, Mass. And I'm the chief editor of the school newspaper.
Thanks, Andrew. Come on up. This will go quickly.
My name is Lucy Bui. I'm from Vietnam. I'm the vice president of the senior class.
My name is Kerim Parlakbilek. I'm from Istanbul, Turkey, and I play soccer and tennis.
My name is Dalhan Serap. I'm from Armenia, and I'm the student body president.
My name is Lauren Cross. I'm from Chicopee. I'm student body vice president, and I play soccer and basketball.
Thank you very much. The opposing team, come on up.
I'm Mikhail Barkudarian. I'm from Armenia, and I'm the co-editor of The Muse.
The Muse is our literary magazine.
I'm Ilgun Esen. I'm from Ankara, Turkey, and I'm the head duty prefect.
Hi, I'm Mabel. I'm from Vietnam, and my favorite activities in school is doing theater and chorus.
Hi, I'm Mariel Reyes. I'm from Springfield, Mass., and I'm the senior class president and captain of the varsity volleyball team.
Hi, I'm Lara Budak. I'm from Izmir, Turkey, and I'm the head boarding prefect and a member of the Judiciary Council.
Thank you, students. As you can see, we have a lot of students who are international, but we also have a healthy number of students who are from our local communities. And they are really involved students, not just academically, but extracurricularly as well. You heard a lot of leadership positions. It's one of our focal points at MacDuffie, leadership. All right, groups. Which group started with the opening statement in class? All right, so you are the team that will start off again. Reading your opening statement. Please come to the mic. To your mic, thank you.
Okay. Medea is portrayed by some as an evil witch of Greek tragedy and a symbol of extreme revenge. However, the fact we're trying to make clear is that Medea is not a monster, but that her actions are clearly a vessel of the gods' punishment for Jason, as well as a palpable form of resistance to women's oppression, as she's simply trying to stand up for herself in a society where it's unheard of for women to do so. She gave Jason everything she could, including her heart, and it was all coordinated by the gods. She helped Jason steal the golden fleece and even killed her own brother and fled her homeland for his benefit.
Medea is the voice for the women of ancient Greece who aren't able to stand up for themselves, as well as a catalyst of the gods' just punishment. She's the mortal arm of the gods and speak up to those who are tired of oppression by men and the ruling class. Today, we are not here to argue her methods, but rather to clarify that her story is a result of betrayal and dealing justice, not insanity.
Thank you very much, Team 1. All right, my opposing team, come on up to the mic. Opening statement.
We oppose Medea because her actions violate both moral and divine order, replacing justice with selfish vengeance. In Greek culture, the gods existed to maintain balance and punish hubris, excessive pride, or defiance of order. Medea's choice to murder her own children and the princess shows not courage, but a complete rejection of laws that guided both humans and gods. Her revenge is deliberate and planned, not a moment of passion, which makes it even more destructive. Rather than acting for justice, Medea is driven by humiliation and pride after Jason's betrayal. Her intelligence and rhetorical skill become tools for manipulation as she deceives Creon, Aegeus, and even Tuscan to achieve her plan. This proves that she is fully aware of her actions and cannot claim emotional blindness or divine influence. In ancient Greece, motherhood represented the highest moral duty, a reflection of divine nurture through goddess, like Demeter. Medea's decision to will her children betray that sacred role and violates one of the most fundamental values of her society.
Some may argue that Medea's suffering and betrayal justify her actions, that she is rebelling against a patriarchal system that limited her freedom. However, true rebellion would have meant preserving her integrity, not destroying it. By turning her pain into violence, Medea becomes the very force of chaos she condemns. Her revenge brings no justice, only devastation. Jason loses everything, while Medea gains nothing but isolation and guilt. In the end, she destroyed not only her family, but also her humanity, proving that vengeance fueled by pride can never lead to justice or redemption.
Thank you very much, opposing team. Okay, we're back over here now with the debate. Pro Medea, first point.
So, in your guys' opening statement, you said repeatedly that this was all Medea's doing and that she's a wicked person, I guess, for taking out her revenge and taking out her anger in such a way. But we believe and we argue that it's not Medea's sickness herself, I guess, or her sick feelings that are causing her these actions, and that it's the gods using her as a vessel to enact what they think is right. And because throughout their marriage was formed by Cupid. They fell in love with each other. She fell in love with him because of Cupid. And the whole marriage was kind of orchestrated by the gods, which are very significant in Greek culture. And there's many quotes in the text, specifically, for example, it says, "The hearts of men are treacherous, the sanctions of heaven are undermined. Gone is respect for oaths," the oath of marriage in this context, which is seen as created by the gods. "Gone is respect for oaths. Nowhere in all the breadths of Hellas is honor anymore to be found," in Jason. So it's clear that the gods feel disrespected, that Jason broke their oath.
So just to summarize very quickly, you have to consider that Medea was fated or controlled by the gods, in particular Aphrodite. Over here.
So the opposing team said that the Medea's actions were influenced and controlled by the gods, specifically by the Cupid's arrow. We want to say that the god influence explains but doesn't excuse what Medea does. In Greek tragedy, the gods may inspire emotions, but humans are still morally responsible for their choices. And there are many stories, including Heracles, for example, where heroes face god influence but still answer for their actions. And the Cupid's arrow is only created for passion, and it doesn't command her to kill. She wasn't aware when she killed 6 people and that the Cupid arrow lasts forever. This is the point that you bring up, but we want to say that she should still blindly follow and love Jason, because this is by the logic of the Cupid's arrow. And Medea instead makes Jason suffer, and so the Cupid's arrow basically doesn't excuse what Medea does, and because she is fully aware of what she does, and she carefully plans her punishments for Jason. I also have a quote which reaffirms this point. Medea says, "I know indeed what evil I intend to do, but stronger than all my afterthoughts is fury," which basically just proves that Medea is evil and knows what she's doing.
So Medea may be fated by some extent, to some extent by the gods, but there is a modicum of free will that she has. The way many characters in Greek drama have a modicum of free will, and that she's very aware of why she's murdering her children, and that it's considered evil. Over here.
So your argument was basically that the Cupid's arrow should have still been enforced, I guess, its properties, but Cupid's arrow is divine covenant, I guess, that it needs to be kept by the gods. And of course, Jason annoyed the gods, angered them, and they have in every right to enact their justice, which they do with other characters in Greek culture, like Arachne, and that's all I have off the top of my head. But it's clear that the gods are upset with Jason's actions, as it's going against what they wish, and that's hubris, I guess, because that's what the gods want from him. They want him to respect their choices for him, respect their fate for him, which is a big aspect of Greek society. And there's another reference that says, "The gods make the weak strong and the strong weak," which is making it even clearer that it's the gods that are giving Medea this power to fulfill their wishes, I guess. And it's not her being evil on her own volition or just doing whatever she feels out of her emotions, but it is the underlying motive is from the gods.
So Jason has somehow offended the gods by leaving his wife and family. And if that's true, Medea's actions are sanctioned by the gods. Okay, over here.
You said that the gods don't support Jason, but in fact they don't support Medea because she violates moral and divine law in ancient Greek society, because Greek myth hates hubris, which is excessive pride, and Medea shows that throughout the story because she wants to save herself in the story. Her divine help, you might say that the gods help her and not Jason, so they support Medea and not Jason, but their help doesn't mean that they approve of what she does. It just means that they're letting fate unfold. They're not rewarding virtue.
So if Jason is guilty of hubris, Medea is guilty of hubris. All right, back over here.
I want to clarify a point by saying that Medea and Jason's relationship started when Medea's total devotion was to him, which is not entirely voluntary. Jason needed to get the golden fleece and fight the dragon, and he was clueless. Medea used all her magic and sacrificed her brother for Jason's benefit. And I want to emphasize that the Greek gods in general used their superior power to influence characters to commit both noble and terrible acts through their intervention and manipulation. Hera wanted to help Jason, but she also knew that Jason was Aeetes' enemy, which is Medea's dad. So she directed Aphrodite, knowing that Medea wouldn't assist her and father's enemy, so she made Aphrodite make Medea fall in love with Jason so she could get her own benefit, using the arrow of love. And through Aphrodite's manipulations and influenced by the Cupid spell, Medea devotes herself to Jason and helps him run away. She admits that the god of love has pierced her heart, and she is compelled to help him, said Medea. Medea also admitted that her passion is stronger than her reasons, showing that her emotions, which are manipulated by the power of gods, are much stronger than her own reasoning. It is clear that Medea does not have the sole motivation of her personal interest, but also the devotion rooted from the inevitable power of God, which means that the gods don't make them do good things in all, but they also can make them do terrible things.
So the power of Aphrodite cannot be understated. It is considerable. And so are Medea's talents and sacrifices regarding Jason. All right, back over here.
So you said that Medea before, so you're saying that Medea was being controlled by the god, and she didn't choose to devote it for Jason. But we can clearly see that she's murderous, evil. She chose violence and revenge over the justice of God. So she's fully aware that what she was trying to do was wrong and against the divine law and against the God. But she still did it because it is going to hurt Jason. So I'm gonna quote one quote from the leaders. He said that surely you will not have the hurt to destroy your own flesh and blood. But Medea replied, I will hurt my husband most that way. So even before or after the murder, she doesn't express guilt, and she defends her action as justice and saying that Jason deserved it. Clearly, she was not controlled by the God at that point. Also, she destroyed innocent to punish the guilty. Like, instead of using her power that she was given by the God for the good, she abused them and made things worse. Firstly, she took advantage of the fact that Jason cared about and loved his family, especially his children, to kill his beloved one. And she was selfish enough to say that she killed her own children just because, first, that would extremely hurt him, and second, she doesn't want anyone else to take care of them and take them away from her. So apparently, she do all of that just because of her hubris. Like, she loves herself and she is confident in herself. She just doesn't want anyone to undermine her. So apparently, she's doing it because of herself, not because of the guys controlling her.
So Medea is acting for vengeance, not justice. And again, hubris is at the center of all of her actions, which are self-centered and selfish. All right, we can continue along this line, or we can start a new point over here.
Okay, so May basically said that she's not a good mother because she killed her own sons. But I want to give a quote. She cries, but I will beg for my children to stay here. Not that I would leave my children in hostile territory for my enemies to abuse. So basically, this is her first lines right after Creon exiles her from the lands. So even in those hard circumstances, her first thoughts are her children. So I don't know what makes a person good mother, but I think this is a really good example of a good mother. And also, they mentioned that killing her own sons, and I want to give a point about this. So the choice to kill her sons was not an easy one that she came. Jason refers to them as Medea's children and until their deaths, when suddenly they become his, because after the children dies, Jason could use this to punish Medea by Creon. So until that time, Jason doesn't accept the child, but when they die, suddenly it's like so important to him, and then he uses the children to punish Medea by Creon. So Medea is aware that if Jason has sons with the princess, now she's engaged with, her own sons' best case scenario is that they are treated as slaves. So since Jason essentially broke his marriage with Medea, their sons are now bastards and illegitimate, and Medea doesn't want this. So what could Medea do? Why didn't Medea just run away with the kids? In ancient Greece, you were introduced as name of homeland, son/daughter of father. For example, Medea is introduced as Medea of Colchis, daughter of Attis. If any of these three statements could not be fulfilled, your social status dropped significantly, and Medea knows that what a low social status might refer because she's a woman in the society. So she doesn't want her children to face the same circumstances she has faced during her whole life. That's why she doesn't run away with her kids. Since the children are considered legitimate after their breakup, they wouldn't have a father to introduce themselves and therefore be socially weak. So Medea didn't want her children to suffer. She killed them for their own good. Also, from her perspective, by killing her sons, she ensured that no one would carry on Jason's legacy, and his line will end with him. Also, it should be noted that Medea takes her bodies, the children's bodies, with her, and this shows that she actually cares her and wants a good burial for them.
So many points made there. I'm just going to emphasize one, which I suppose is that there are worse fates than death. Medea is worried that her children, once she is exiled, will be left illegitimate and abandoned, and perhaps worse. All right, over here.
Oops. So your claim is that Jason abandoned his children. He showed no true fatherly love. But actually, Jason's concern for his children is clear because he seeks security for them through his royal marriage, which is seen as Jason betraying Medea, but it's actually a political marriage and it's acceptable in Greek society to secure the children's future. I'm going to quote Jason now. He says, "Accept my assurance, it was not for the sake of a woman that I made the match I have made. As I told you once already, I wanted to save you and to beget princess to be brothers to my own sons, thereby establishing our family." So this shows that Jason actually did care about his children. He was not just seeing them as objects. He wanted to give them a good future, a good life. And you claim that Medea is a good mother, but she's actually not a good mother because she prioritizes her revenge over her children's lives and their well-being. And her actions directly cause their suffering and death, showing that her love is twisted by pride and vengeance. And although Medea hesitates, she silences her maternal instincts and murders her own children to hurt Jason. And she's proving that revenge matters more to her than motherhood by killing her children. She, throughout her life, she claims to love her children, but she uses them as tools, sending them to deliver poison gifts to the princess and later killing them herself. I believe that true maternal love protects, not destroys.
So again, many good points made there, but in a nutshell, Medea is misrepresenting the situation regarding her children, that in fact Jason has made every plan to advance them and protect them with his political marriage to the princess. Okay?
I want to make a quick rebuttal. So she said that her anger caused her son's suffering and death. I agree with that, but I don't think it's caused suffering. For Medea, I don't think the suffering is necessarily death. She sees life more than the worldly objects. She is a divine figure and knows that life doesn't end after you die. That's why I think she didn't want her sons to suffer in earth, and she wanted them to live maybe a better life in her beliefs after they die.
Okay, let's go back over to this side. You can certainly move to new points you haven't raised yet. We're going to go back and forth just a couple of times before we conclude. Just a couple more back and forths.
I'm gonna talk a bit about how Medea was aware of the evil she's doing. So some people might say that her actions reflect trauma and mental instability, and she's not portraying pure evilness, but actually she shows throughout the story that she's aware of what she's doing, and Some quotes that show that are, I know indeed what evil I intend to do, but stronger than all my afterthoughts is my fury that brings upon mortals the greatest evils. So in this quote, she's basically saying that she knows that what she's going to do is evil, but her anger gets a hold of her and she's going to do it anyways. And it shows moral and rational awareness. Also, we can see that she carefully plans the murders, saying, I will kill them and then leave this land, escaping the murder of my dearest children. Here she's not acting impulsively or irrationally. She's plotting and weighing the outcomes and then preparing her escape. She's calculating her murder. And also, she manipulates other people while she's keeping her plan secret. She pretends to submit to Jason. She pretends to be so in love with her while she's hiding all the plans she's making about hurting Jason and killing her children. And so, yeah, I think those things clearly show that Medea is fully aware of everything that she's doing and how evil the things she's doing are. And she doesn't show any mental instability at all.
So she has rational awareness that cannot be excused by any defense that might say she's mentally ill. All right, let's have a final comment from this side, and then we're going to have closing statements.
So I just want to make point that you guys were saying that the new marriage is to help the kids, right? But in reality, the kids will not become royal if the new marriage takes place. And that's the main reason why Jason doesn't accept his sons as his own, keeps calling them Medea's sons, until their own death.
All right, we're coming to the end of our abbreviated debate. I know there's so much more that people would like to say and did say in the classroom, but we want to be mindful of the Media Center's time. So I'm coming, I think, over here, yes, for a closing statement, either the one you read in class or just a new one.
So for our closing statement, we're going to talk about a new point about that the other team brought up about her fighting against oppression. So you guys claim that Medea fights against oppression of women, yet her actions undermine the very cause she represents. Instead of challenging injustice through coverage or wisdom, she confirms the worst fears of a patriarchal society, that emotion and chaos rule women's choices. Her violence silences any chance for genuine progress or solidarity, replacing empowerment with destruction. In the end, Medea doesn't liberate women. She chains them to her legacy of fear and vengeance. Thank you.
So that is a really powerful closing statement, that she is not the voice for oppressed women in a patriarchal culture. She is ironically the worst fear or I guess fear. She represents chaos and all of the rest that comes with that. Okay, you said that more eloquently than I did. Your closing statement, folks.
We see Medea acting from layered betrayal and a lack of loyalty of men, taking back her power that has been stolen from her and many women.
Medea doesn't see herself as simply a jealous woman trying to get back at her husband. She believes that carrying out justice, not only for herself, but also in the eyes of gods, she calls on Zeus and Justice, child of Zeus, and flaming Helios, as witnesses when she plans her revenge. And there is a quote, it seems that this day fate is visiting his sins of Jason. By punishing Jason, Medea is acting as the agent of Zeus. She is the representative of gods on earth who punishes people who lie and break their promises. That means that she doesn't see her act as murder or chaos, but as a god's way of balancing what Jason has done.
So again, another powerful statement, I think, and we can't forget the closing image of this play, can we? That Medea is rescued, literally, by Zeus, who comes and whisks her away in a chariot, Deus ex machina, right, in Greek theater. She's aligned with the gods. She's aligned with what they represent, and you're saying in this case it's justice and truth. All right. First of all, before we go into our little intermission here, let's give a hand to the debaters of Medea. Yes? Okay. All right. Thank you, folks. At this point, we can, stop the cameras and have a 2 or 3 minute break, and we'll ask the next team to come up for their debate. All right. Good job, folks.